I was talking with my wife and I said, in my life it appears that things good and bad seem to come in threes. So a thought occurred to me. Giuliani, cardinals, Canadian geese. What's the commonality? High-flying lawyer portrayed himself as the upholder of law. I was living in Europe. I thought very highly of Rudy. He was to bring law and order to New York. Talked hard, talked fast. I made acquaintances in the Catholic Church. I was called to address the bishop's conference, an honor. I was called in to deal with pedophiles who were accused of and convicted of pedophilia. Again, I felt honored. Thank you, Bishop Martin. And where the hell do Canadian geese come in from? That's what my darling wife asked. Well, after all, she's an attorney. The only thing that comes from my weird and warped mind is Canadian geese. I first came across them in Galway Golf Club. Hit a beautiful drive. And then, in the middle of the fairway, I see my golf ball. Titleist Pro V. Yes, right in the middle. Half black, half white. What in God's name is this? Till my playing partner said, oh my God, the geese are back. Black poop everywhere. Everything was covered in poop. They fly high, they fly low. They make themselves comfortable around green pastures. They eat plenty and they poop plenty. All over you and my golf course. My poor golf course. My parkland. I saw the same in Peachtree City in the state of Georgia. Covered in black poop and Canadian geese. Talking to themselves and laughing their ass off. So, Rudy Giuliani pooped on himself and all around him. The Catholic Church, they are trying to hose itself down. But God loved the humans. They just can't stop pooping on themselves. Canadian geese, hey, that's what they do. I cannot blame them. So, on November 28, 2023, Pope Francis decided to punish Cardinal Raymond Burke, a Vatican lawyer. Now there's irony. By revoking his right to a subsidized Vatican apartment and salary. Earlier, Bishop of Tyler, Texas, Joseph Strickland was removed after a Vatican investigation into governance of his diocese. And then come Zieglers, Bridget and Christian from Florida, so they can take the place of the Canadian geese to make the threesome. What a fabulous threesome. Even if I say so myself. Not so says the lady who was involved in a threesome with the pillars of society. The pillars of the right wing of the Christianity. Zieglers, Bridget and Christian. Liberty, thy name, I don't know what to call. I have no idea what liberty means. Because no matter which way I turn, all that comes is poop. Good people, they call themselves good people. They are pooping on themselves, they're pooping on everything around them. Mental health is going down the poop land, everything is just pure poop. So, what a fabulous threesome. Thank you, Zieglers, Bridget and Christian, and Giuliani, and others. I'm not going to go there because I really would like to keep a focus on this criminal entity called the state of Georgia and its executive. We'll have plenty to talk, trust me. You can sue me, you can talk to me. Each and every person and their name that is mentioned, sue me. For far too long, you have tried to bury me and deny me access to the court system or a fair hearing. So, here, I found an avenue. I can talk. And I can assure you I have plenty of guts and plenty of backbone, unlike you worms. So let's get on with it. Just cause we can't find it don't means it's lost. What wonderful trophies from high school system and the standard of English. I have lost count of the number of times I have heard this phrase since arriving in the South 10 or so years ago. Bless me, bless my heart, and bless my soul. Can this rationale be applied to the so-called US justice system? Hell yes! Wait till you hear how the fabulous Judge Asha Jackson, she conducted herself. We will come to that. There will be separate recordings of each and every individual I came in touch with within the state system. Each and every one of them. Judges, attorneys, Department of Law, the state capitol, state representatives. Please make time. Make sure you do not have too many joints and too many roll-ups because you will die laughing. Yes, either it's going to be that cruel or it's going to be that funny. It depends on what tickles your fancy. So, now there appears a $1 trillion question and or a dilemma depending on who you happen to be. Just cause I'm dumb don't mean I'm stupid was something I have heard repeatedly being said in jest from juveniles in DJJ care. If only they knew how true the statement is when applied to the practitioners of law in the United States of the great America, as President Trump and his limited grasp of English vocabulary would state or allow him to say. Wholesale corruption, moral delinquency, and abuse of or lack thereof ethics is a daily mantra and the 11th commandment. Well, just in case you didn't know, the chair of the Judiciary Committee in the state of Georgia, yes, you, Mr. Wendell, you asked me, pray tell me what the 11th commandment is, and I told you what it was. Fuck the other 10. They are only in name. The only commandment we practice, preach we plenty, practice is fuck the other 10 commandments. So says the state executive of Georgia and practices it daily with zest and vigor. Ever heard of the fox getting the job at a chicken farm and getting free accommodation in the chicken coop? Hey people, just check in with the US executive and the Vatican. At least Pope Francis had the wherewithal and stopped a $50,000 stipend to a cardinal and asked him to vacate his 4,700 square foot apartment at the Vatican. I cannot get my head around this one, so please help me out. A cardinal, I will presume a celibate, and a lawyer without portfolio in occupation of a huge residence for free. And to do what? Pray tell me. Yeah, I'm going to wait for the answer. So please feel at liberty to send me an email, call me, or say it to my face, preferably without a gun being held to my head, because you're very good at that. Are pedophiles really entitled to jobs in child supervision? That's a question that should be asked on a daily basis. First, the Catholic Church. Then along came the Southern Delight, literally the Boy Scouts, then Georgia private schools, and then the Baptist Church and its pastors. And God knows how many more are going to be discovered. No wonder the executive is in a rush to find a place on a different planet away from Earth, and they are trying. So now it's starting to make sense to me why such a rush to find a place where monkeys such as them can go and inhabit, because the filth here is becoming unbearable even for them. Here's the irony. The members of state bars, especially the judges, can screw whosoever they like and when they like without fear of accountability. Well, what is good for the gander must be good for the goose, or what's good for the goose must be good for the gander. Yes, I know I said it arseways, as they say in Ireland. It was intentional, you assholes, because the only way you seem to understand something is when it is said arseways. Because simple straight English, either you want to shoot me, you want to kill me, or you call me names. Because here's the wonderful thing. The whites have self-declared themselves as a supreme race. And this is what the supreme race does. I thought only animals did that. They go and urinate on a pasture of land and declare it their own. Look at the history. You, the supremes amongst the white population, you declared Australia of your own in the name of the Queen and whosoever. You declared US of A of your own in the name of whosoever, because you happen to be white. So are you not more akin to a wild animal rather than a civilized human being? We can discuss that at some other time. I have plenty of intellect and plenty of time thanks to the state of Georgia. Now, it is inclusive of the US Supreme Court as well. They will appear in the episode. Trust me, I say it quite often. But you will have to trust me because I hold the cards. And most of them, they are on display on griftersnet.com. Feel free, costs you nothing. There appears urgent need to identify these abnormalities as pedophiles of the executive and or legal and judicial system and put them on a special offenders register with mandatory castration and incarceration with due haste. That's what they did to the innocent. At least we will be doing this to the guilty. In this our nation, their nation, or upon us, public urination, someone needs to provide an answer, and it is definitely not China or Russia or another foreign entity performing or providing the said service. The ones urinating or defecating upon us, the very same we elect. We stand there like muppets to elect them, and nothing changes. Nothing! Neither the Democrats nor the Republicans. Different hoods, same rapists, same KKK, same whatever you want to call it. All persons named and identified in this and following podcasts retain the right to respond through this podcast or legal avenues or both. And their rights are duly acknowledged, unlike mine were. An analogy of the US Supreme Court, the Catholic Church, and application of ethics can be collaterally used as a used condom offering equity. I have a wonderful story to tell. I fact-checked it, in fact, on Google. And then I double-checked it with His Royal Highness Prince Masambula of the small state of Kawabunga in the Himalayan mountains located on I-85, just north of Georgia. Then I'm told, no. It is in the Kingdom of Nigeria. So all these verified facts which I am about to narrate, they have to be true. I mean, who in their right mind would lie? Because if this were to be a lie, then everything we are told and narrated to has to be a lie. Friendly fire, collateral damage, blah, 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 blah. The greatest nation, we are a nation of values, we are a country of values. No, I don't think I need a mental health intervention right now. That stage is long gone. But I must apologize in advance because whatever I'm about to state will negate the entire factual history of slavery and the great nation which stands today as the United States of America. So folks, there was no slavery in America. Let's get that fact right. Blacks always find it easier to blame the whites rather than take responsibility for the actions of the fellow blacks. Nigerians, yeah, God bless them. It's always them running scams, aren't they? Yeah, the Nigerians. They brought fellow Africans to America to show them a good time. And the promised land. Courtship was included in the package for cruise to Savannah. Innocent Africans knew nothing about America and thought Savannah was a little heaven as stated in emails and brochures printed by eminent Nigerians, mostly princes. So there, now I have let the cat out of the bag. The ever generous and gracious whites provided the African immigrants, the transplants, with jobs and free housing. There was no need for transport as to who in their right mind would want to jeopardize white hospitality. And forever, provision of heavenly stay for free. Are you mad? No. See? That's history. You just got a free lesson in history. Now I will proceed to give you the factual narrative of all evidence, inclusive of court papers and official communicative documents that will show the true and egregious nature of the so-called American values and its justice system. I must warn you in advance that two words will be repeated over and again: ethics and racketeering. This brings to mind words of a very wise former justice. In fact, she happened to be the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Ireland, Madam Justice Catherine McGuinness, at the historic Dublin Castle on the 17th of July 2007. I've had the privilege of being in the company of some truly great ladies. There have been half a dozen of them. She was one of the leading actors and brought my faith back to humanity. When asked about the duty of dispensation of justice, she calmly replied that to dispense justice, one must be just and wise, which appears beyond capabilities of mere mortals. All we endeavor to do is apply law to the best of our ability, and at times we do it poorly. This journey has taken its toll for the past 10 years and counting. But I must do this for the sake of our children and coming generations. and hopefully evoke some shame, sense of true guilt, and ownership of abdication of responsibility, which has left us all in a quagmire of corruption, dysfunctionality, and complete and utter oblivion of defecation upon our moral responsibilities. Madam Justice Catherine McGuinness once told me that I should be proud of being who I am, a Muslim. And Sharia law was introduced by Islam and forms basis for jurisprudence in common law. At my instigation, she felt corrected that it's not Sharia law but Sharia. That was a moment to savor. After all, Sharia means pathway to clear water. This principle has been there for centuries. It was in use when Judaism came along, but it was there long before that. Islam merely brought it into everyday practice, and many of you seem to have a problem with the word Sharia. A simple word of wisdom from the past which offers simple solutions. Let me add to that. Sharia law clearly states that the law of the land will take precedence. In the absence of such law, Sharia law can be applied. So Sharia law is the wisdom of the locals to find a simple solution to purity and pure water. No more, no less. You can howl at the moon and the sun like wild wolves, but it is that simple. A pathway to clear water. Interpretations may vary, intellect may vary, but the fact remains the same. Just as law, whose duty it is to provide equity and remedy to the innocent and to the ones who have been harmed. No matter who, no matter what race, color, creed, religion, even animals have the fundamental right to equity. So says common decency. So should every decent human being. A simple pathway to clear water. Sam Olens, the former Attorney General for the state of Georgia, visited Fayetteville, Georgia in 2016. I met with him at the Republican Party office in Fayette County, Georgia. An absolute gentleman. Absolute gentleman. A lady from the gathering asked him a question as to, what are you going to do about this Sharia law? And she was really worried and she was angry and she demanded an answer. Sam gave me the honor to provide the answer, which I did. It was not too difficult. Simple answers never are. The lady and her colleagues were shocked and appeared stumped. After the event, she sought me out and shook my hand, thereby stating, "We are only told lies and almost always misled. Nobody ever tells us the truth. Thank you so much for the answer. Why is this not taught in schools? Why? For the fear that our children may start asking questions and challenge our mountains of BS